Amazing. That is amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing!
Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. Amazing.
Amazing!
That is amazing. Amazing.
Amazing!
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dusty Smith Show. We got a special tonight. Last night, somebody emailed me the documentary that changes everything. They finally got him, Jesee Lee Peterson. Now, we all knew that he was gay anyway, right? We've covered this repeatedly. But now, they have the people that have known him for 30 years, the people who are the closest in his life, and all this can be fact-checked. You can go see for yourself. These have been his closest friends the last 30 years. Now they've all gone public, and they're in detail describing the sexual relationships they've had with Jesee Lee Peterson. And so I was just going to clip this out and just show you parts of it in my bigger show. And then I watched it and I was like, I can't clip any of this out. The entire fucking thing is gold. I have to play every moment because it's so amazingly spectacular. So tonight we're going to do a little different thing where we're going to watch the entire Jesee Lee Peterson documentary. It's only 26 minutes long. And we're going to go over the proof that Jesee Lee Peterson is, in fact, a self-hating gay man, like we all suspected all the fuck along. So, first off, why is it even important that we cover this? There's nothing wrong with being gay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Jesee Lee Peterson being gay. The problem is, he's an anti-gay preacher. He's a guy who goes out and spreads hatred against gay people. His whole shtick is that gay people can't be alphas, that he's this big alpha male and everybody else is a beta. And we live at a time right now, you might have seen it, where the Texas Republican Party just voted as part of their platform to basically disavow homosexuality. Homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice, they say. We believe there should be no granting of special legal entitlement or creation of special status for homosexual behavior, regardless of state of origin. And about trans people, they say now, the platform includes explicit opposition to all efforts to validate transgender identity. So it's people like Jesee Lee Peterson who have an impact on the Republican Party. These self-hating gays, they don't actually give a shit about anything they say. They just want to grift people, build power for themselves, and they don't care who they hurt in the process. And Jesee Lee Peterson is an amazing example of this. So before we get in on the documentary, let's just have a little review, a little reminder of who Jesee Lee Peterson is. One of the most vile, sick sons of bitches on all of the internet. Literally just a spewer of hate in every way, but he's loved, as we're going to share at the end of the show, by the white supremacist community because he spreads white supremacy talking points and he gives white supremacists almost like a justification. They're like, see, there's a black guy here that agrees with everything we're saying, so we can't possibly be racist when this black guy is just repeating our lines verbatim. But of course he does this because he's the token. He's a con man. This is how he makes his money. Let's have a review of what he said about AOC back during the January 6th insurrection, where he claimed that, hey, I wonder if she wanted to be raped.
This woman, Cortez, must be mentally ill or something. She seemed to be mentally ill. All the light, she's there, but the lights are not on. The lights are on, but she's not there. No one's home. It was reported that she wasn't even at the building, but she thought she was going to be raped. Is that wishful thinking or what? Maybe she wishes she was at the building so she could possibly get raped. Maybe. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Class act, Jesee Lee Peterson, always showing us the love of Christ. As always, folks, I'm going to read all the super chats at the end of the show, so if you want to get super chats in, go ahead. But here he is, giving his opinion on intellectuals. Guess what, folks? Intellectuals are actually the stupid ones, and people that have faith, they're the real intelligent ones.
And I noticed that the people who are really into the intellect are nutcases, absolute nutcases. Because of this intellectual thing taking over and the people rule us, we now have so-called same-sex marriage.
Oh, no.
That wouldn't happen if we weren't into the intellect. Common sense would dictate that is not going to happen. And common sense wouldn't care what you thought about it, because we would know that that's wrong.
I know it. God damn it, you smart people. Don't you know if it wasn't for smart people, we wouldn't have gay marriage? If it was just left up to fucking idiots, then you guys would be able to get married. Amazing point, Jesee Lee Peterson. I actually agree with you there, but not for the reasons you think. And here he is with a bunch of other white supremacist right-wing shitheads talking about how we should have never educated women.
I want to know, was it a big mistake to educate women? Hey.
Yeah.
So why was it a big mistake to educate women?
Because look at them. They're already like conceited and think that they know better without that stuff.
So not only was it a mistake for women to vote, it was a mistake to let them be educated as well?
Right.
Amazing. You say?
Yeah, it seems like it.
The globalists want women to be educated.
I know.
Remember that Mahalalala? That one girl?
Mahalalala?
She got shot in the face by some Muslim radicals.
Mahalalala?
She's like a 13-year-old Muslim girl. She's been 13 for like years. And she got shot in the face because she wanted to be educated.
Yeah. On the education thing, too, I realized you kind of have to have the love and logic of a man to protect yourself from getting too into education.
Chris, was it a mistake to educate women in America?
Well, in one sense it was, but I mean it was done on purpose for nefarious reasons. The quality of everyone's life, again, we are living in a really nice society, we have all these nice things. The quality will continue to go down and down and down until we're literally in hell, unless we turn this thing around.
That's right, women. Can't believe you've made us all go to hell by reading books and stuff. Fuck, it's terrible. Definitely the brain trust right there. And here he was today, folks. Now, this is not today. This was not too long ago. Talking about how great white supremacy is. Yeah, super cool.
I used to think that when they used that word, white supremacy, it was a negative word. But now I realize what they're thinking is that, and it's true, by the way, that white men are smarter than them, superior to them. And instead of learning, oh, hey, how did you become so superior? They want to destroy it so that they won't be reminded how dumb they are. And so they're dumbing everybody and everything down rather than coming up to the level of white supremacy. I used to think that...
So this is why he's loved by the far right, by white supremacists. Because like I said, he gives them a reason to assuage their guilt for being white supremacists because he's a black guy that agrees with them, that spreads all their talking points. So they can't possibly be racist if Jesee Lee Peterson's on their side. I'm going to show you later. They're now coming out and saying that this documentary is a hit piece and not to believe it, that he's not in any way gay, folks. But we're not there yet. Let's hear what he had to say about White History Month and Pride. We're now getting into his thoughts on homosexuality. What's amazing about all this is how brazen it is. As these guys are going to tell you in this documentary, one of them was his boyfriend for like 10 years. He was just sexually, I want to say assaulting, but being very sexually aggressive towards men for 30 years. Yet he was going out in public saying stuff like this.
Remember how back in the day, about 10 or so years ago, when the gay marriage debate was really taking off and we had the Supreme Court case and everything going on at the time, it was, well, what goes on in people's bedroom isn't anyone else's business. And now, of course, they brought the bedroom to the streets, and now we have to visualize everything, see it all, hear all the gross, itty-bitty, degenerate details of other people's lives, and then we're being forced to encourage it and to promote it. And since you're a pastor and given your background with that, with spiritual matters, what do you make of America? We're supposed to be founded on Judeo-Christian principles.
What do you think about the gays, Jesee?
An entire month to Pride, one of the 7 deadly sins. What do you make of that?
I think that we as Christians must stand up and fight against evil. Our battle is a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong. It's not about men or women. It's about what's right. And if we continue to go down this road and allow evil to prevail in our country, it can only lead to destruction. We must love God so that we can overcome fear, because greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. And we have to change our relationship with things and not be worried about a job or what we're going to lose. Our soul is more valuable than material things. And they're controlling the Christians by threatening to take material things away from them. So we got to stand up. We should have never fallen for this idea that, oh, we just want to come out of the closet. Just let us out of the closet. And then they say, oh, we want to go to church, but we don't want to be talked about at church. So a lot of preachers stop mentioning that homosexuality is wrong, that something has gone wrong, and they must repent and return to God. Now they have taken over the churches. There are a lot of preachers who are afraid to speak out against so-called Pride Month. You know, I started the White History Month in July. This is our 4th year coming up when we're celebrating white history. And what I've noticed that in America, a country that was founded by white people and created by white people, one of the greatest countries on this side of heaven. And so white people invited all this other stuff to happen, but you could celebrate everything but white history. We must remember white history, because if it wasn't for that, there would be no America. And so they got Black history, women.
That's right, folks. Gotta celebrate white folks more. God damn it. Can't believe they don't want to celebrate white pride. When has that ever gone wrong? Here he is. This was today, talking about Juneteenth. You know, the national holiday that celebrates the freedom of slaves.
So today is a so-called holiday. And the government, the banks and things are closed today. And on something called Juneteenth, can you imagine that? A few black people, just think about this, smoke on it. A few black people in Texas found out years later, or sometime later, that slavery had ended. And so because they found out, the other blacks started complaining, and now they have a national holiday. Go figure. A few blacks didn't know slavery had ended. How did that become a national holiday? And you don't believe that reparation is coming next? White folks, your land will be taken. Your everything will be taken without compensation.
That's right, white folks. The blacks, they coming for us. They gonna take all our shit. Not gonna have any compensation. I can't believe you want to celebrate freeing of slaves. How horrible. Here he is, talking to Gay Conservative and explaining why homosexuals cannot in any way be Christians or conservatives.
That people need to repent and overcome that. Lesbians are wrong, and so they don't care as long as you keep it to yourself, but don't try to impose it into the conservative movement, because you can't be a Christian and a homosexual or a lesbian.
You don't have to be.
A conservative.
You don't have to be a Christian to be conservative, and you don't have to be straight to be a conservative.
But that's what conservative means, is that you believe in the person. Let me just finish this. Let me finish this first. Conservative means that you believe in God. It's about God and country, whereas the Democrats are not about that. And so, like, I know that everybody in the conservative department are not really godly people, right? But they don't flaunt it because they know that it's wrong.
That's right, folks. Can't be a Christian if you're gay, says incredibly gay Jesee Lee Peterson. Here's a clip where he's talking about how the radical gays went into the black communities and ruined them. I'm going to skip that part. Here he is talking about how gay couples are not mentally stable enough to raise children. Might want to look in the mirror there. Here's one where he's talking about, can gay men be alpha males? And shocker, according to Jesee Lee Peterson, nope, they sure cannot be. Just starting to think Jesee Lee might be, in his own words, beta. And like, it's ridiculous. We have to take this guy seriously, but this guy has a big following. one of the guys who was his boyfriend for 10 years did another video after this documentary where he talks about the hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars Jesee Lee Peterson is raking in. And he does have quite a loyal fan base that listens to him, that spreads his message. But we're about to get to the documentary, folks. It's amazing. But before, one more. This is going to be a shocker to you guys. Prepare your shock face. But he accidentally liked gay porn on his Twitter. And then he froze his whole account because he was so shook by it. Let's have a look here. So here he is. There's the Jesee Lee Peterson page. Let's scroll down. This is his likes. So you see it's his likes. Let's scroll down. What's he liking? He like Trump. A lot of Trump. He's liking mostly Trump. It's almost entirely Trump. He really loves Trump, it seems. Oh, what's going on here, Jesee Lee? Oh, no. Oh, shit. I mean, he does like sucking conservative dick. So, you know, can understand why he loves Trump so much. But yeah, he liked that. No shocker whatsoever. All the signs were out there already, folks. Apparently he likes the masculine gays. It's not really gay if you're like into the masculine gays. It's not gay if you're like fucking them. That's just the prison rules, basically. And so then he locked his whole account because he was embarrassed. He eventually unlocked it, but this is going to come into play later because in the documentary, somebody actually asked him about this. So now we're going to jump into the documentary, folks. A group that calls themselves, the fuck they call themselves? Church Militant. Apparently, this is Milo's gang of Catholic shitheads, and they don't like Jesee Lee Peterson because he's gay, first of all. They hate gay people. And Jesee Lee Peterson says that he doesn't know if Jesus Christ actually physically arose from the dead or just spiritually, and they can't stand that for some reason because that's a big deal. So they put out this documentary where they went and interviewed the people that have known Jesee Lee Peterson for like 30 years. One of these guys was his main gopher, like almost his servant that worked for him for 25 years. One of these guys was his boyfriend. This is one of his best friends for 30 years and like his boyfriend for 10 years. One of these guys literally is the manager of his house, worked for him for a long time. Basically his right-hand business partner is now going public and saying this. So pretty credible people. I mean, I guess it's possible they all got together and just decided to lie that Jesee Lee Peterson's gay for some reason, or they're just telling the truth about what happened. So, no further ado, let's get into this amazing documentary. It's only 26 minutes long.
It's not like that.
That's not fucking it. It's only 26 minutes long. So, let me go ahead and just watch it here, I guess. I thought I had it loaded up. Let me go ahead and find it again. I thought I fucking had it. Let's see. Jesee Lee Peterson, Jesee Lee Peterson. Good job, Dusty. Where the fuck did I do with it? Oh, God damn it. I didn't have it saved properly. All right, fine. We'll just go to this Church Militant and we'll watch it here. All right, here it is. All right, so let's go ahead and watch it, folks. It's called Amazing Disgrace by Church Militant. Let's have a look.
You may talk about the men of Gideon. Talk about the men of Saul. Don't like the good old guys who went. That old Jerry, that poet, worship it the man alone. Jericho, Jericho, Lord, Jericho, worship it the man alone. Jericho, and the whole thing come down.
I've changed, and I don't have any skeleton in my closet.
You were saying
from
that
the
you're
point that I
100%
changed.
saint now?
I'm not saying that I'm a saint, but I don't do those things.
In the early 1990s, Reverend Jesee Lee Peterson began his ministry as a student of Roy Masters, a British-born talk radio personality and hypnotist. Peterson and Masters promoted a similar system of meditation and theology, a system that includes rejecting the Holy Trinity and our blessed Lord's divinity.
So keep in mind as we're watching this documentary was created by more religious extremists. They're just as much as fucking idiots as Jesee Lee Peterson. They're just on a different side of it. And the stuff they say is amazingly crazy as well.
But thanks to the feckless and spiritually absent bishops, Jesee's theological errors didn't keep him from gaining tens of thousands of Catholic and patriotic followers. Jesee's draw for conservatives was his commentary against the Marxist group Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter, radical so-called social justice warriors. They were chanting, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now. Pigs in the blanket. Fry them like bacon. And people went out and started killing cops and everything.
Of course, this documentary is not going to mention his spreading of white supremacist narratives and his repeated slams and demonizations of homosexuality, because they're actually for that. They actually agree with him about that. So they're not going to shit him about that.
Back up!
Exploiting many angry American men's desires for a stable family life, Jesee would directly call out feminists for their role in destroying the family as well.
Sexism is a made-up lie, and it's been made up by women who hate men, who hate the family, who hate the unborn child.
The 73-year-old even visited the Church Militant studio in March, when senior executive producer Michael Voris answered his questions about Catholicism.
Did Jesus just rise from the dead in spirit,
But
or did his body come out also?
He was, maybe his body count, I don't know. But I know.
Well, that's a big deal.
He rose in the spirit. That's what.
No, he rose in the body.
Why I want to make that.
But he rose in the body. You can't say he didn't walk out of the tomb on Sunday.
And for what we knew at the time, Jesee was an ardent opponent of homosexuality in and outside the church, and presented himself as such.
The spirit of homosexuality is of their father, the devil. It's not them, the person. It's the spirit that made a home in them. And it came from them overreacting to some sort of a situation in life, whether it's from someone messing with them when they were kids, or overreacting to an angry mother, because you become like what you hate.
But shortly after the March interview, friends of his came to us with a different story. These stories first came to light when Jesee's former co-host and alleged decade-long gay lover exposed him. 61-year-old Patrick Rooney has known Jesee for nearly 30 years, dating back to roughly 1992.
Everybody know Patrick Rooney, one of the smartest white men on this side of heaven.
The two were so close that Jesee was the minister at his wedding and the pastor at his baptism, long before Rooney claimed any homosexual activities began.
Right around that time, I also had started a TV show. I was doing a public access TV show in LA, and with a friend of mine who had gotten off heroin and wanted to, he asked me to be involved in the show to help other people get off drugs and things like that. So we started a show, and one of our first guests was Jesee and another gentleman from Bond. So we did a couple shows with them. And from that time forward, right after the show happened, Jesee and I talked in the green room, backstage. And right off the bat, he started asking me stuff. Jessee's very forward with his questioning and things like that. So he actually asked me right after that show, are you gay?
Rooney's characterization shows that Jesee allegedly used similar grooming tactics as other homo predators, like Saginaw priest Father Robert DeLand.
Yeah, like homo predators. It's just fucking hilarious. Yes, this is real, folks. It seems like it's a parody because it's made by Christians and they're all fucking insane. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till these motherfuckers start talking. They're so fucking weird, but it's like exactly what you would expect from people that hung out with Jesee Lee Peterson for 30 years. So yes, you can go look it up. This guy hung out with Jesee Lee Peterson for 30 years. He's one of his best friends. It's all documented. Go fact check it.
Who asked similar questions when preying on a young man in 2017.
To discover that you have some gay tendencies is a fine thing, because then you don't have to be so confused.
Right.
Do you feel less confused?
Do you? Yeah.
After Jesee discovered Rooney's same-sex attraction, his relationship with Jesee was taken to the next level. Bit by bit, Jesee began edging him closer and closer to sin.
Once he moved up there to do the show, we stayed in the same house. Jesee would kind of do some things, kind of horseplay and stuff like that with me. And at times he would do stuff where he would like grab me and then we'd kind of wrestle around a little bit. And then I'd feel his, private parts against me. And he did that more than once, so it wasn't like an accidental thing. He would kind of do it, and then I even mentioned it, like, you know, what's that or whatever, and he would kind of play around and joke about it.
You guys ever horse around with your friends and feel their hard dick on you? I have never had this experience. God, they're weird.
Fast forward to 2005, and Jesee was ready to make his final move.
We did a conference with them called Moral Reconstruction, which is kind of ironic now that we're sitting here talking about something else. It's called Moral Reconstruction. We did that. That first conference was, I believe, in 2005, and we did a follow-up conference in 2006 with them as well. And I went with Jesee to Washington, D.C. For this conference. I was a fundraiser at the time. And so we did fundraising, and I was part of the conference.
Bet they did some fundraising.
While we were at the conference, we stayed in Virginia, you know, near DC. So we were sitting on the bed together, and
why?
All of a sudden he turned to me, just looked at me, and he said, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" And he said it in a tone that was really insistent. And I'd never seen this tone from him before. It was like kind of scary. It kind of scared me. Like what? What do you want to do?
Scared me so much I sucked his dick.
I knew what he meant, and then I told him, well, okay. And at first I'm scared, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm playing along here. It kind of threw me off my game, I guess, in a way. I think later I realized that's kind of something that people do sometimes. It's like the devil works in a certain way by intimidating you, and it throws you off your normal game. And so he said, what do you want to do? And he was like, okay, I'm scared. And then I told him what I want to do. I mentioned sex acts, you know, that he knew about, that I had already talked to him about, that I was interested in. And the next thing you know, he's ripping his clothes off and coming at me, basically. And I did the same, took my clothes off. And the next thing you know, we're fully at it, having, not getting into detail here, but basically full-on sexual acts.
Rooney's recollections show that Jesee mirrored DeLand's sexual advances almost identically.
I love you. Love you too. I know. What are we going to do? I don't know. No, what are we going to do, really?
Rooney's description shows that after their sexual encounter, Jesee began intertwining his private homosexualism with blasphemy.
After we had just done this first sexual act, and then ever since then, he told me that once we did this, I was born again. This sounds crazy, but this is the absolute truth. He said that I was born again. He would remind me of that through the years.
Following being born again, Rooney contends that his sodomitic relationship with Peterson went on for roughly 10 years, until Rooney decided to come clean to his wife and son.
Come clean.
My son was really angry. My son was mostly angry at me, because he had Jesee on such a pedestal. My son had Jesee on such a pedestal, he literally thought Jesee could walk on water. We got on a phone call, we talked to Jesee, and as soon as we brought it up with my son on the phone call, Jesee denied it. And I said, Jesee, you're a liar. You're lying. You know you're lying. And he finally came out and admitted to my son that he did that.
Rooney later moved to Florida to get away from Jesee. But according to Rooney, Jesee couldn't handle the relationship ending, offering him several bribes to get him back to LA. It's typical for homo predators to try and cover their tracks using a cornucopia of strategies to shut people up. In the case of Father DeLand, it was now deceased Saginaw Bishop Joseph Sistone, who remained silent on DeLand's abuse for years. While serving as an auxiliary bishop in Philadelphia in 1994, Sistone allegedly watched as documents containing names of up to 64 suspected sex abusers were shredded, earning him the nickname Bishop Shredder among the U.S. bishops. According to Rooney, for Jesee and those loyal to him, the strategy was to bully and silence all victims and witnesses speaking up.
Jesee did throw me under the bus, basically, and other people that did anything like that, and still does. If anybody comes up with it, they'll keep anybody off the air.
You're talking about other victims?
Well, other victims. And he'll make sure that if anybody talks about these things, calls up his show or does anything like that, they were not going to get through on his show.
Patrick explained how easy it was for Jesee to discredit victims, given Bond's history of seeking out troubled young men.
A lot of the people that Jesee brings around him are troubled young men, right? Have drug problems, right? Some of them been in jail. So it's pretty easy to discredit a guy who's been on drugs, maybe in jail or something like that. It's pretty rotten thing to do.
Beginning last November, Rooney began writing a collection of blog posts hinting at Jesee's predation, leading him to a shocking discovery.
After I published these articles, I found out from a young man, a very credible young man, that Jesee was fooling around with this young man.
That young man was 30-year-old Samuel Arambula, a more recent member of Bond and Jesee's latest known purported victim.
I started going to Bond around May 2020.
2020.
This was during the coronavirus lockdowns, everything. As soon as they opened back, they were doing live broadcasted, no in-person church for like 2 months or 2 weeks or something like that. But as soon as it opened up, I went. That was May 2020.
As soon as it opened up.
Jesee, what he likes to do in the church is he goes around first-timers. He goes around first-timers and says, introduce yourself, what's your name, you know, how'd you find us, where are you here?
Can I suck your dick?
The first thing I said, my name is Samuel, and I'm here because, you know, you helped me a lot. I went and forgave my mom, I went and forgave my dad, I had a lot of anger, and I just dropped that, and I feel way better now. I'm really, you know, growing, and I want to thank you for it.
Among him are 3 other alleged witnesses and victims who also chose to tell their stories. Samuel began his relationship with Jesee professionally, washing cars for him and doing other cleaning work at what they call the Bond House. The Bond House is where Jesee and several of his male staff currently live. And when Samuel began opening up to Jesee about his past, things got personal.
I was molested as a boy, so I was like, Jesee, what do I do? Like, this is weighing heavy on me. What should I do? He said, forgive him, it's in the past. Our relationship progressed slowly closer and closer. I didn't suspect anything weird of it. There were certain times where he began hugging me where I was like, whoa, I've never been hugged by a man. Like, what was this? But I was like, this is, he would just tell me like, you know, I just love you. So I'm like, okay, I get you, you know, I love you too.
But, much like with Patrick Rooney, Samuel states things went from casually close to mortally sinful.
So a Friday afternoon, evening, I go to Jesee's house and I am sitting in his couch, relaxing, you know, I'm kind of avoiding the LA traffic at the peak hour. So it's a good deal, and I get to stay somewhere with someone that I respect, a friend. So then by this point, we're already real comfortable with like hugging and all that stuff, you know, just hugging for long periods of time.
Man, you guys ever sit around and just hug on your guy friends? I don't know, I don't want to be toxic masculine, but I've never hugged a man in my life except for like my dad. Is that normal?
I thought nothing weird of it. I guess my guard had already been let down completely. So I'm sitting in this couch, he kneels down in front of me, and then he wraps himself around, his arms around my waist. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, but
a little weird.
I'm like, Jesee, why are you doing that? He's like, I just love you so much. I just love your dick. I'm like, okay, I guess. I was just like this. So then he starts rubbing my thighs, and I'm like, okay, what is he doing? Like,
what are you doing? Crazy. It's a mystery.
And then he starts rubbing my genital area.
What are you doing?
What's happening right now?
What's happening? And then he trying to suck your dick, motherfucker?
And then he pulls down my pants.
What are you doing?
I'm shocked. I'm not saying anything. I'm like, my face is like, whoa, what the hell is happening right now?
From there, Jesee instructed Samuel to go into his so-called meditation called the silent prayer.
And he's like, doubt all thoughts are lies. Everything Satan is telling you is a lie. And I'm like, okay. But inside it's telling me, hey, this is not good. What are you doing? What are you allowing him to do?
Samuel describes Jesee abusing the supposed meditative state, trying to convince Samuel to ignore the traumatic sexual experience occurring.
It went on for a few minutes. He would get up, walk away. I could hear him, I couldn't see him. Get up, he would get up, walk away. I could hear him get up, walk away, touch it, get up, walk away, touch it. And I was like, what the hell's going on?
What the hell's going on? Yeah, he would get up, he'd walk away, come back, suck my dick a little bit. He'd quit sucking my dick, he'd walk away, come back, suck my dick a little bit. And I was like, what's going on here? I have no idea. Like, these people are so fucking weird. Good God.
Then I opened my eyes, and then I'm like, what just happened?
Another alleged victim was Trayvon Chapman, who in 2015 told his friend, now 43-year-old Armand Martikian, that Jesee molested him.
The first thing came out of his mouth, that Jesse's homosexual. And I say, you know, you can't be saying this, you know, like he's all against it. He's a, you know, straight conservative man who, you know, this is like, what you're saying is bizarre, you know, doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it kind of struck me as a truth. What this guy was saying, he was explaining the incidents, like certain acts that they would do. They had some nicknames. Jesse had nicknames for it, you know. Say, instead of telling what the act is, he named it oral massage, according to Trayvon.
Armand tried to tell Jesse what Trayvon said, and he just dismissed it.
That's right.
I went to Jesse.
I'm not sucking your dick. I'm just giving you an oral massage. I'm basically an oral masseuse. You're welcome. Relieving that tension and stress in your dick.
I said, Jesse, I bumped into Trayvon, and he was talking bad things about you. The moment I said that, his first response was, oh, he's on drugs. When he said he's on drugs, shivers went down my spine, like, uh-oh, aren't you gonna ask what he said about me?
Trayvon has since disappeared. None of the men have any idea of his current whereabouts.
I'm not saying Jesee Lee Peterson killed him, but Jesee Lee Peterson definitely killed him. It's a comedy show, folks. Don't sue me.
Though they assume he's still somewhere in LA. After this encounter, Armand began questioning his own relationship with Jesse.
And then I had a flashback. Back in the day, it was such an insignificant thing that it never stayed in my memory, but for some reason, the flashback had, when I was in a private counseling, he kind of gestured me, let me see down there, pointing at my, referring to my, you know, down there as in my privates. Not knowing what was about, I'm at very late teens at that moment, you know, like kind of got tricked into it, pulled my pants forward where he kind of looked at it, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, maybe he's trying to see if I'm shy, he's trying to help me overcome shyness, because I was a little shy.
He just pulled my pants up and looked at my dick, because he was trying to help me.
You know, I didn't know what to make of it. I remember saying, if somebody sees us from outside, they're gonna think we're gay, I said.
You think?
Later, I looked back, thought that the fact that I said, if somebody sees us, they're gonna think we're gay, he kind of probably thought that, okay, he's too aware, I'm not gonna advance any longer.
Former Bond House manager, 50-year-old Robert Santner, alleges he witnessed similarly strange behavior in 2021 between Jesse and current Bond producer James Hake.
What I witnessed, him and Jesse were hugging each other intensely, rubbing each other's shoulder down stuff, and he came to a point where I actually saw him kissing him on the cheek and stuff on the hallway, and talking all kinds. I can't remember what the words he said, but there were a lot of giggling in the hallway in his James room. And then there was even one time that just really shocked the living hell out of me, is I went to the laundry room and stuff. I mean, after I took the laundry out, and then when I got out, and there was a door open in Jesse's room, and there I saw Jesse was sitting in the bed, and while James Hake was wrapped around bed sheets, completely around like a burrito with his head sticking out. And Jesse was like embracing him and hugging him and stuff, and then kissing him on the forehead. And I was like, hey, are you all right?
Hake, to this day, is an ardent defender of Jesse and his ministry,
sure is.
essentially helping him ostracize all the men accusing Jesse of homo predation. Santner also described an incident where Jesse attempted grooming him to see if he was a homosexual.
Like there was one night, okay, I was all by myself. It was like late at night after I came home from work. I was in the kitchen, you know, doing my own thing and stuff. And then suddenly there was Jesse appeared on the doorway, leaning against the doorway with his hand underneath his underpants. And he was like slowly massaging himself and was giving me a look, and I turned around and says, "What the heck are you doing?" And he was like giving me a smile and giggle and stuff, and then walked away.
Amazing.
Another witness is Martin Francis, who's largely been leading the charge against Jesse's purported homo predation. He describes himself as one of Jesse's best friends. You may recognize Francis from a video with Jesse arguing with a Univision reporter at a Prop 187 rally in Los Angeles in 1996, a rally opposing the flood of illegal aliens entering the state.
Are you all right?
Are you okay? Oh, I'm feeling better than ever.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
Are you a racist?
Am I what?
What are you?
So this guy was basically Jesee Lee Peterson's gopher for like 25 years. Apparently waited on him hand and foot. You can all go fact check this. These were all people intricately woven into Jesee Lee Peterson's life for decades. So yeah, I guess they might have just got it all together and decided to lie about him all at the same time, but seems very unlikely.
What do you think of these people now? Why? Why you stay here?
Are you racist? Am I racist?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a racist. Why do you ask that?
But since learning of Jesse's dark secret, Francis has led several protests against Peterson's homosexuality outside of the Bond studio. Jesse was confronted by him several times this year and refused to address any of the accusations of him preying on young men at Bond. Here's a video of Francis from March, facing off with him at what appears to be the post office across the street from the Bond studio.
Oh, that's nice. He wants me to tell them how I was sleeping with my brother's wife. That's fine. But Jesse, why will you not speak on your homosexual behaviors?
Francis confronted him again in the back of the building with Armand Martikian in February, capturing it all on video.
Jesse Peterson, I've known you for 25 years personally. Will you come? See, he's not coming over to me. Will you at least stand there where you feel safe and talk to me? Stand up on your porch with the door open and shout out to me. Why won't you talk to me? I've known you for 25 years. I've accused you of heinous things, and you will not talk to me. You coward.
Francis admits there were also a few clues that should have revealed Jesse was a homosexual, long before he ever found out.
He wanted to see if I was willing to have a homosexual relationship with him, of course, because that's what he was all about. He was about putting out feelers there and seeing who he could have sex with. And it didn't work with me because I had not been molested as a boy. And so eventually I told him, look, Jesse, I'm just an angry guy and I don't like these long hugs and all this stuff we're doing, at night.
And did he stop?
Where he would come into my bed and just lay with me,
He would come into your bed and just lay with you?
Yes. And at one time even put his hand underneath my underwear to go toward my genitals, right? He never got there because he could see I wasn't getting excited. So he never got there.
What do you mean? Because you weren't getting excited? You didn't slap his fucking hand away? What's wrong with y'all? These clearly just cult members, and this guy's their cult leader, and just do anything not to anger him. They're so weird.
He just at the edge, because you got to invite the vampire in, is what they say in the vampire movies, and it's sort of true.
Fucking God, these motherfuckers.
Even psychic vampires, like Jesse. And so he would do those kind of tricks, or put his hand around my back and up on my chest and be hugging and all that kind of stuff, just to see if maybe I could get, and asking me if how does it feel, and it feels good, right, and all that kind of stuff. And I would meekly answer, yeah, it feels good, but only because when you're under that kind of pressure, you just give the answer that he wants.
No, you
don't.
Really you say, hey, I'm not gay. If you want to be gay, that's cool. Nothing wrong with being gay. I'm just not gay. Quit fucking hugging up on me. I don't want your Christian side hug. Jesee Lee Peterson, don't touch my dick. It's real simple, dude.
Wanting to get the heck out of there. You're ready to fly out of there like a bat out of hell.
Jesse appears to have used every dirty trick in the book to silence him, allegedly trying to have Francis arrested for violating an unserved restraining order.
I will go back to Phoenix and chill out with the relatives like I was doing before, and I'll be back on the 25th. Okay.
25th, yeah. For you, this is in a sealed envelope today. If it had been,
yes. Yes. If it was already served, you had already seen it, you would be wanting to go.
Church militant asked every single victim and witness if they thought Jesse would continue sexually preying on men, and they all had the same answer.
Well, yeah.
I would say yes.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind.
There's no doubt that there's current victims.
I think for sure.
Jesse allegedly accuses these men of harassment. But some members of his own congregation disagree, like former bond house tenant Fabian Asensio.
Harassing is just an excuse for, trying to shut people down. Bond has been a nonprofit church for all these years. He's lied and collected a lot of money from that church, from people saying that, he's been a hidden homosexual. There's plenty of evidence for it. There's no reason for us to make up anything. So for someone to be out there in the alley and talking and trying to wake up the employees and say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you still working for this liar? That's totally within our First Amendment rights.
Jim Valerio, longtime donor and friend of Jesee's, also pushed back at his defenders.
And for those of you people who are still supporting this so-called fraudulent, hypocritical, serial predator homosexual, you are going to pay a price for that. That is a stain on your soul when you meet your creator. Period. Cut.
This isn't even the first incident. Jesee was embroiled in a homosexual scandal in October 2020, after his Twitter account liked a gay pornography image. After the tweet was left up for hours, Jesee's account was immediately locked down and set to private. One caller on his daily JLP show broadcast tried asking him about it, and Peterson hung up on him.
Did you lock your Twitter account because you got caught liking a gay OnlyFans post?
Amazing. Do you think I handle my own Twitter stuff?
Yes, I do.
Oh, somebody else did it? How come you locked the account?
None of your business. What the? Are you a homosexual or something?
No, but it doesn't really matter.
Why are you such a beta male? What, you know all that stuff that's going on is not real, but you being a girl right now. What making you be a girl right now?
There's nothing wrong with it, Jesse.
There's nothing wrong with you being a girl?
They were in.
Goodbye.
On top of those we spoke to, there were several other anonymous alleged victims Church Militant was made aware of, who refused to speak with us per their devotion to Peterson and his so-called ministry. Jesee continues to deny his own actions to his congregants and his fans, shutting down any victims who stand in his way. For Church Militant Special Assignment, I'm Joseph Enders, Detroit.
So look, this guy's clearly gay. I think that's plenty of evidence for anybody who's intellectually honest enough. It's very unlikely. Just look at his response to that. Are you a girl? Instead of just saying, no, I didn't do it. He wouldn't answer that guy who was trying to talk to him in his alleyway. He's very obvious that he's guilty here, right? Not just me, right? So anyway, needless to say, his supporters are out there defending him, saying this is a hit piece. Oh my God, don't listen to that. All the white supremacists are out defending him, like Nick Fuentes. Shocker. Nick Fuentes says the JLP hit piece, which AF Commander and Church Militant associate Milo claims he personally verified is fully credible, was such bullshit. Essentially accusing Milo of being a liar. I mean, Milo is a fucking liar, but I don't believe all those guys who knew Jesee Lee Peterson for 30 years are all just coming out and admitting they're gay or had gay relationships with him. Doesn't make them look good. Doesn't make sense they all just got to fucking together and made this shit up. And then, of course, Sticks and Hammer, white supremacist Sticks and Hammer, ain't having it. Oh no, you don't call Jesee Lee Peterson gay even though he's obviously clearly gay. But like I said, the white supremacists love him because it's a black guy who spreads all their narratives. So they're going to defend him to the ends of the fucking earth, which nobody's fucking shocked about. So, and then this guy, like I said, went and did like
and God sometimes will give me
hour and 20-minute special where he answered all the questions from everybody that was messaging him about how it happened. And like, he's pretty convincing that it happened. Of course, he's a nut job too. He's a religious fucking moron. The type of idiot you would suspect would be around Jesee Lee Peterson for 30 years. And he was like, Jesee Lee Peterson told me that after we had gay sex that I was basically saved. So I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I kind of like felt like I was saved because it's a fucking cult. And I told you guys over and over again, you don't even have to be an intelligent person to be a cult leader. You don't have to even be rich or good looking or have a good personality or be charismatic. None of that. You could be in the lowest of the low and still find idiots to follow you. That's how stupid fucking people are. So anyway, what do you guys think about it? There's the documentary. Is he a self-hating gay? I think it's pretty obvious that Jesee Lee Peterson is a self-hating gay. And there's, like I said, no problem with him being gay whatsoever. Nothing wrong with being gay. The problem is that he's a fucking hypocrite that goes out and spreads hatred towards gay people and racism. But that's secondary as far as this is concerned to his homosexuality. So... yes, Dusty Jacklin debated Jesee Lee Peterson. A whole bunch of people have been on the Jesee Lee Peterson show. Vosh was on there. Destiny was on there. He was on there with Blair White. He's been on there with Nick Fuentes. Everyone except for me. They begged me to come on the show, and I would not do it because I did not want to have a polite conversation with him. I could not have a polite conversation with him. So, all right. That's my Jesee Lee Peterson special. Everybody make up your own mind. Let's read the super chats real quick. Beep boop, says John Porter. Thank you, John Porter. Good to see you tonight. Thank you. Here's some kitty treat funds. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Lloyd. K. Drew M. I had to start over with your arts because I mess up a lot, but it's still in progress. Hey, it'll be worth the wait, I'm sure. Jason Anderson, $10. Jesus hung out with way more bachelors than Jesee Lee Peterson. I don't know about that, but they are pretty both gay, in my opinion. $10 from Jason. Jesee Lee Peters, yum. Yep, he liked those pitas, that's for sure. Jason Anderson, 99. When Jesee Lee wants to talk to you backstage. Yep. Don't drop the soap. Jason Anderson, Jesee Lee studied under Oral Roberts. It's just oral massage, y'all. He's talented with that tongue. Send us a love to the fuzzies, says Twinner. Kaya Rick Kelly. I don't know. Would everyone here be clowning like they are if women were involved? I don't understand the question. You're saying that if he had sex with women, would we be clowning? I mean, if he went around and he was a hypocrite and made fun of straight people and spread hatred towards straight people, then yes, we would be busting him on the hypocrisy, probably. Is that some kind of stupid gotcha? Get the pitchforks! See how they conflate homosexuality and abuse? Yeah, the homo predators! That sounds like an awesome movie. I'd watch that. Lloyd, I just realized this pot calling the kettle black church militant should expose Catholic sexual abuse as well. Well, of course, but they're not going to do that. They don't actually give a shit about any of this. They just don't like Jesee Lee Peterson, obviously. April S., $100. Whoa, April S. The super chat. Hey, wait, jump to the world tonight. I missed the last few shows. I'm buying your forgiveness. You are forgiven, he wrote April S. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. Chess, 119. JLP's hatred of African Americans and homosexuals and himself. Being them speaks a lot on his bizarre worldview. Yep. Well, not only is he self-hating, but he's an obvious, shameless grifter. And he knows that even if everybody comes forward and says exactly what he did, the people that follow him still are going to defend him. It's like Trump. It doesn't matter what he does. They're never held accountable for anything. So it doesn't matter if he's just brazenly going out there being anti-gay while in private being super gay. It has no effect on him. He'll have people like Sticks and Hammer and Nick Fuentes defending him all day long. Dusty Peterson would probably talk bad about you on his show. Well, I'm sure he would. I don't blame him. I'll talk bad about him on my show. And all right, folks, that's my Jesee Lee Peterson special. Please hit the like button before you go. I appreciate all of you joining me tonight. Let's check the pores real quick, see what you guys got to say in the regular chat before we go. Wow, I had no idea. Yep, crazy. Dusty with another masterpiece. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Wanted to share that with you. One of the crazier documentaries I've watched. Those people are just strange as shit. He was grabbing my dick, and I was like, what's going on? Like, dude. Obviously, they were into it, and they're just trying to downplay the fact that they were gay, and they wanted Jesee Lee Peterson to suck their dick, but they can't just come out and say that. So they got to pretend like, oh, she took advantage of me or whatever. I'm not saying that he didn't take advantage to some degree of these people, but also, like, they wanted to fuck Jesee Lee Peterson, and they did it. That's just what happened, right? That was amazing. Thanks for the show and the whole documentary. Hey, appreciate it, Selenia. Thank you for the 1999. Very generous. $2.99 for Kathy H. Thank you, Kathy H. Appreciate it. No kitty party. We're ending this show. I just want to do a quick special on the Jesee Lee Peterson controversy that was out this week. I wanted to get a jump on it before too many other people did this story because I thought it was interesting. All right. So, folks, I'll be back for the regular show on Friday. Going to jump back into the regular way that I do things. So, make plans to join me. 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, every Monday and Friday. We're going to do it again. You guys have a good week. Yeah, it was a quick show. It was just a special. Love the shit out of you guys. Have a good one out there and share the video because it's pretty fucking funny. Good night, everybody. Logic. Have a good one. And let's play a little, the Jesee Lee Peterson song to play us out. Here's the amazing song.
Amazing. That is amazing. 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 Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. 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 That is amazing. Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. Isn't that amazing? That is amazing.
That blow job was amazing.